these guys survived the David Kahn era of Timberwolves basketball and live to tell about it. It's Flagrant Howl.
When you talk about the top shooting guards in the game right now, you talk about Devin Booker, talk about Donovan Mitchell, talk about Jason Tatum, we talk about Anthony Edwards. What do you think you need to do as a whole to come in next year to take that step to where you're just solidified as the best shooting guard in the NBA?
Just kill everybody, man. That's my mindset coming in.
Kill everybody.
Love it.
You know, anytime I match up with any of those guys, I'm going to guard them, and hopefully they guard me, and I showcase that I'm a lot better than them.
Is Anthony Edwards, man, signed that big new contract officially over the weekend. You guys probably saw planes flying around the Twin Cities with Anthony Edwards banners hanging behind them. The LED screen on the side of the Resorts World Casino Hotel in Vegas, like the NBA hotel at Summer League, had a big Anthony Edwards montage. So the Wolves splurged on their marketing budget, I guess.
Yeah.
More of the weekend.
Yeah, full page ad, I think, on the back of the Star Tribune Sunday Sports section, too, with Ant extended and then ticket sales.
Yes.
Trying to move tickets.
So we're going to get, by the way, you're wondering, wait a second, is that Judd? Is that Judd and Declan on?
Yeah. Why is Declan there?
Flagrant Howls here?
Mr. Basketball here.
Kyle looks different these days. So, dude, Kyle's going to be, we're going to do an episode with Kyle tomorrow, a big Summer League notebook dump. Yeah, Kyle has a couple epic stories he's going to tell, too, on Flagrant Howls tomorrow.
Nice.
It does feel better, though, because I know Kyle is at least probably the bigger Jaden McDaniels fan of me, which is saying something. I know I was like, I tried to pinpoint that early, but I know Kyle loves him some Jaden McDaniels.
Yes.
So the Jaden McDaniels positivity will still remain, whether Kyle or Declan are on the screen. That's
I love
the
it.
thing.
So, yeah, just for the audience here. So starting this week, we are, I guess here's the headline. We are expanding some of our team-centric shows on Score North. We brought back the Score North Twin Show. We're expanding Judd's Hockey Show with more episodes throughout the year. And we're expanding Flagrant Howls. So you're still, in addition to the episodes with Kyle Teige and myself, Phil Mackey, of which there's going to be even more in the regular season, we're moving some of the stuff that we did on Mackey and Judd, like talk about the Timberwolves, for instance, into the team-centric shows. We see the metrics, we see the feedback from you guys. You guys love, Purple Daily kind of has started it all in terms of like the team-centric shows for us. And so we just want to pour more energy into Flagrant Howls, Judd's Hockey Show, Score North Twin Show. Everything we do on Mackey and Judd, whether it's team-centric or whatever, is still going to be available in the Mackey and Judd podcast feed. That's one of the most important things to note. So that's not going to interrupt your listening experience. And same on the Score North YouTube channel. But the headline is we're going to expand Flagrant Howls, expand and bring back Score North Twin Show. So we're pumped about it. And now we can do a little Summer League notebook dump here, and you guys get to accompany. This is your first time ever on Flagrant Howls. How does it feel to be part of everyone's favorite Timberwolves lifestyle podcast right now? Does it feel good?
It's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. It's a ton of pressure.
Well, the intro says,
like
we survived the David Kahn. They survived the David Kahn era. So did we. I mean, we had other Randy Whitmans.
I feel like Kat, though. If something starts to go wrong, I think I'm going to just bitch and moan about it and complain.
Really?
Yeah, and I feel like you should be Ant and tell me, hey, suck it up, big man.
Well, Kyle might share more on this tomorrow, but let's just say that some people very close to Anthony Edwards do consume Flagrant Howls on a regular basis.
Ooh.
And in a polite way, it has been made clear that maybe I am a little too hard on Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe old Macadac should pump the brakes on the Karl Anthony Towns criticism. So we'll see. We'll see. It's up to Kat, really, ultimately.
I'm excited to hear the story. That's all I'll say.
But let's start here, gentlemen, as we kind of go through things that have happened throughout the Summer League weekend. We have NBA core rankings, young core rankings from Bleacher Report. All right. Now, remember, a year ago, the Wolves mortgaged their entire future to get Rudy Gobert. Oh, my God, what are they going to do? They don't have everyone they have now except for Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels is close to 40 years old, and they don't have any first-round draft picks, even though they do next year have a first-round draft pick. According to Bleacher Report, the Timberwolves have the 7th best young core in the entire National Basketball Association. Notable players entering their age 23 or younger seasons include Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Josh Minott, Wendell Moore Jr., Leonard Miller, who just went off in the first Summer League game a couple nights ago. Here's the write-up. It's tempting to put the Timberwolves even higher than 7th.
Woo!
Anthony Edwards is that dude in every way, shape, and form. Jaden McDaniels partners relentless defense and dependable shooting with a disarming and burgeoning floor game. We need to see more from the rest before jacking up Minnesota's collective ranking. By the way, Leonard Miller, the 33rd pick by the Wolves in that draft. He's 6'10". You finally saw him on the floor. Like, he played in the G League, obviously, but like, he's 6'10" with room to maybe get to like 225, 230. He had a play in that game. It's been surfacing around social media. He blocks a three-pointer, grabs the rebound, and then dribbles like 3 times and throws down a hammer dunk and hangs on the rim. It's like, this is a freaking 6'10" supreme athlete who can shoot, get up and down the floor, block shots. He can pass a little bit too. So I think we were maybe a little premature in writing off the future of the Timberwolves because of the Rudy Gobert trade.
In defense of Wolves fans, though, and I continue to say this, and Gerson started this, okay? Because yes, I know he was fired. I know that there was controversy, but Gerson Rosas actually started a pretty nice snowball of identifying talent. Is we had become so accustomed for so long to those second-round picks being sold or being shrugged at, right? What are you going to get in the second round? And when you look around this league, a lot of teams get a lot there. So, like, if there was a list of reasons why Conley replaced Gerson, I would say identifying, cultivating, and finding talent where it might not have been found previously was a big one. So while the Gobert trade might, in retrospect, turn out to be a terrible trade, I think the reality is Tim Conley also has a pretty good track record, and I think Gerson did the same thing of identifying talent where Wolves fans aren't used to it being identified, but it should have been.
And you're betting that, like, all the majority of these second-round picks, you know, of the 5 they have collected, the 4 or 5 they've collected over the last few years, can 1 or 2 of them turn into legitimate rotation players? That's that's the goal here. Like, obviously, you can find a diamond in a rough, and you know the Joker becomes the MVP as a second-round pick. You know, that's an anomaly. But can you find solid role players in that bunch of the majority of them? Can 1 or 2 of them hit the ceiling and they become legitimate contributors to the team?
Yeah, it looks like Leonard Miller might have a chance even this year at some point. Josh Minott is one of my favorite young guys on the team, too. We'll see what he looks like the rest of Summer League. There was a funny moment. I think it was Chris B. Haynes was doing an interview with Josh Minott. I think he did one before the game, and then or at halftime, and then after the game, or whatever it was. And he mispronounced his last name in the first part of the interview. He said, "I'm here with Josh Minott." You know, Josh, tell me about such and such. And Josh kind of like puts his head down and answers the question. And then he goes, and the second question was like, what do you need to do to like, put your stamp on this Summer League, whatever. And Josh goes, well, I think he said not to be rude or not to be disrespectful, but I'm hoping to do enough so that people know that my name is Josh Minott.
Okay, that's good.
And I'm just paraphrasing it, but it's a great clip. Jim Peterson sent it out. Kyle sent it out on social media. So he's got a little chip on his shoulder trying to make some noise and get on the roster here. All right, second notebook point here. Our guy Karl Anthony Towns is still talking a lot of trash this offseason. This was a little thing, but added to the list of like, it's like the summer of cat chirping, I guess.
Be careful, people are watching this.
So he was at NBA Con in Vegas, where they're just bringing in all these like big names and stuff to talk about different topics. And the interviewer said, "What do you say to the people who think 3 bigs can't work in 2023? Like they brought back Naz Reid on the contract. They got to find room for all 3 of these big guys. What do you say to people who think 3 bigs can't work in 2023? And Cat said, he paused, he goes, "Watch us," kind of condescendingly, "Watch us." Like, we show that it can work. I don't know that the Wolves have proven that it can work yet at a super high level.
Right.
But I'm making a list here just for fun here. A list of Cat's offseason trash talk so far. There's the "watch us" comment from NBA Con. There's the "I've won at every level except college" comment from the GQ magazine interview.
Which is not really true.
There's the "when I retire, people will say I changed the game" on was that the Pat Bev podcast?
Yes.
In which he also said that what the Timberwolves have accomplished is more impressive than what the Nuggets have accomplished in winning a championship. So what do you think of the summer of Cat trash talking, Judd?
Back it up, big man. Back it up. Back it up a lot. And look, the reality of the situation, just to be clear, in my opinion, is this. You have, and I realize that all three of these guys, Cat, Naz, and Gobert, are very big, but you have one true big man, like a center, like a post player, old school post player, right? Gobert. Naz and Cat are the ones that have to, like, ideally, if I'm Chris Finch and Conley, I want the perception at the end of the coming season to not be, wow, they made 3 bigs work. I want the perception to be they made 1 big and 2 outstanding sort of positionless players work. Because, like, I think when we say, like when Dex goes back old school, you know, Twin Towers with Olajuwon and Sampson, right? That was the old couple guys in the post. They're going to just be. This isn't that. This is supposed to be Cat, phenomenal player and athlete. Naz has shown that, right? I mean, Naz has gotten outside. Naz has done some very nice things, especially when Cat was out. And Gobert's the one guy who's going to clog things up a bit and hopefully get boards. But I think the most important thing is for Cat and Naz, but especially Cat, to change the perception that it's like all of these bigs. It's really not. It's supposed to be 2 guys that are, or at least one who's an outstanding athlete who can change the game in that way.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Cat and Naz. I mean, Cat and Naz are different players too, but they can both kind of handle and dribble drive.
Yes.
And like Cat is more of a perimeter player than a traditional big who's clogging things up.
Right.
So, but I mean, hell, was it Chris Finch? Everyone's doing media rounds this weekend. I know Finchy was on Dane Moore's podcast too. I don't know if that's posted yet, but on one of these interviews, he said that there's a chance they could try to put all 3 of them on the court at the same time. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know that would work well, but you know, you look around the league, especially with the Nuggets, and Tim Connolly built like 90% of that Nuggets championship team, and they added some pieces, but size, like the Nuggets size just wears on teams.
Yes.
And I know that small ball has become super fashionable in the last 10 years, namely because the Warriors are the greatest small ball team of all time. But there are still different ways to construct a winning team, and I kind of like that we're going back a little bit toward, hey, you can put a bunch of big guys out, even like big guards out on the court, and just make it hard, make passing lanes crowded and grab rebounds and things. And so if the Wolves can put the biggest lineup possible out there without it like hampering their ability to get up on the court, I'm interested. I'm just curious to see how far can they stretch it. Like, are they really going to try and, like Chris Finch kind of hinted, maybe put Naz Reid on the court at the same time? I don't know about that, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and I think to Judd's point, maybe the Twin Towers term from going back to like 90s basketball too big, it probably just was the wrong term to use from the get-go. Not to say that this fit also doesn't work with Gobert and Towns and now Naz Reid also on the court together, but I think from the get-go using that term, I think kind of doomed them from the start, because it's not Twin Towers. They're not 2 dudes that are just cinder blocks clogging up the middle of the paint. It's 2 completely different type of players. So I think also that term basically doomed them from the start.
Yeah,
with the
like in a perfect world, Cat's firing like 8, 9, 10 threes a game.
Yeah,
Maybe doing a little bit down low, but there's got to be some matchups. But it's funny because like when you put Cat up against smaller defenders, sometimes you think, oh, like a big man. This is what Shaq always says. You know, Shaq always hammers Cat for like when you got someone smaller on you, like back them up. You know, back them up like a semi truck basically. But that's not really Cat's game. He's not going to like back you down and then throw a 2-handed dunk down on you. He actually sometimes gets a little flustered when smaller defenders are like up in his kitchen. So yeah, there's still kind of a lot to be figured out here. But I'm with Judd. I'm not going to sit here and continue to bully Karl Anthony Towns, but boy, he's talking a lot of trash this offseason. And
yeah, back it up, dude.
He and this team have to definitely back it up. You know, a company that does back up their trash talk is Finch Home Solutions, gentlemen.
That is so true. And guess what? They not only back it up, but they arrive with that truck at your house.
Meep.
And they can take care of projects big or small. Electrical problems, like you could have a light problem. Finch fixes it. You could need your home entirely rewired. Guess who the best choice is? Finch, fast, efficient, and courteous. 24/7 emergency service also available. You can call them 612-357-2604. Or if you're more like Sports Dad, you can email them. Go onto their website, info@finchhomesolutions.com or finchhomesolutions.com. You can fill out a form, tell them exactly what you need. They're going to arrive at your house without a phone call. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to do great work. Again, fast, efficient, and courteous. That is what my friend Cody and his team at Finch Home Solutions give you.
Also, a shout out to our friends over at EcoFun. So, a Score North listener bought an EcoFun electric bike over the weekend, which is awesome. Yeah, if you go in there, tell them that we sent you. So you can see, by the way, some of these souped up golf carts too.
Oh, yeah. Sign me up.
That's right.
Yep.
Dex needs one.
Yep.
I mean, it's a $1,250 4-seat EFI golf cart. Ho, ho, ho. In stock and on sale for $64.99. They also include fold-out windshields, standard at no extra cost. All sorts of fun electric bikes, souped-up golf carts, youth ATVs. There's 2 EcoFun stores in the metro area, Forest Lake off I-35 and Burnsville off 35W. You can also find them at ecofunmotorsports.com, ecofunmotorsports.com. All right, gentlemen, continuing to dump our Summer League notebook here on Flagrant Howls. The NBA in-season tournament info has been unveiled to the public.
This is interesting stuff.
Let me go through this. You guys interrupt me and let me know what you think of some of this stuff. So the NBA is basically trying to make November and early December, the early part of the season, more fun and meaningful. Because like traditionally, the first couple months of the NBA, there's not even like as many nationally televised games. It's just kind of like,
Till Christmas, right?
Football.
It's a soft
Like it's
launch
slow
until
till Christmas.
Yep.
And then bang.
Yep.
So they're coming in hot here. There's going to be, so to start the season, a tournament will tip off on Friday, November 3rd, starting with group play, which we'll get to. And it'll culminate with the championship on Saturday, December 9th. The semifinals and the championship will take place in Las Vegas. So group play, all 30 teams have been divided into 6 groups of 5 within their conference. There's 3 groups in each conference. So the Timberwolves group is the Wolves, the Warriors, the Kings, the Thunder, and the Spurs. Each team will play 4 designated group games on tournament nights. So the NBA is going to have tournament nights, creating some festivities, right? 1 game against each opponent in the group, 2 games at home, 2 games on the road. 8 teams will advance to the knockout rounds. So the 6 group winners advance. And then 1 wild card from each conference will also advance to the knockout rounds. And those knockout rounds will be single elimination starting in the quarterfinal to the semifinal and the championship. And the qualifying teams will compete for a prize pool and also the NBA Cup trophy. So all of these games will count toward their regular season records and standings. And then for the teams that play extra games, like once you get into the knockout stage, for the teams that don't get to play those games, they're going to add a couple games to their regular season schedule in early December once we kind of know who's in and who's out. So everyone's going to wind up having this baked into their 82-game schedule. But now there's going to be something, in theory, more meaningful to play for in November and December. Are you guys in or out on this?
Now, just to be clear, the championship game, which is going to be in Vegas, is going to be the only additional game, correct?
That game does not count as one of the 82. Yes. It'll
Right.
Just be
So
like
you will actually play an
standalone
extra
title
game there, and it'll be. So we've been reading about this. I think Silver said in his statement about it that this had actually been bandied about the NBA going back 15 years to David Stern's time. And this got out, 5 years ago, 4 years back. And my initial thought was, oh, this sounds like a reach. But the more I thought about it, okay, and yes, Sports Dad can change his mind. Sports Dad's negativity can turn into a positive. And when I saw the plan, my first thing, which will never happen, would be for every regular season to be reduced just on its face. I'd love for hockey and basketball to play like 65 games or something, but that's not going to happen because of TV, because of attendance, blah, blah, blah. I actually love this idea. I love this idea because I think the youthful basketball fans will like this. And I think originally I thought, like, are they going to add games? Like, how does this work? Because I don't want more games. And really, aside from the championship game, they're not going to. I think this is a great acknowledgement that the regular seasons are far too long and boring and bore people, especially young fans who are like, why am I going to watch a November basketball game? These guys go until June or something like that. So my new stance is this. I think this is a really good concept, a really good idea. I think it's going to create fun for fans and just as importantly for players as well. I think young players are going to like this a lot. So when I saw the final plan, I actually really, really like this. And I wonder, after sort of watching how it goes, if hockey will try something like this as well. Because you know what? And also, here's the thing, too. We've seen this. Every league is trying to figure out for its next TV contract, how do we get more, right? Because like we're giving them TNT or ESPN. This is going to add, because now you're going to say, hey, look, we've got a tournament within these games. So like when you previously showed a Friday night game on ESPN, the Pistons and the Hornets, fans were like, who gives a crap? But now it's going to be yes. So I think that this is actually genius in how it's structured, and I approve completely, and I'm very positive, ladies and gentlemen.
Just real quick to add, like, if we all kind of agree, and even I'm a huge NBA fan and nerd and geek, and I love watching November and December NBA games, but even and stuff. So it can't get any worse than the vibes that are happening in November, December right now. And so like to do this, to me, it's worth a shot. I love the fact that they're just doing something totally off the wall. It takes baseball 30 years to implement changes, and the NBA just like, let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm for cutting regular season games down, which would be great. I know that's not the plan here, but yeah, so the semifinals and championship games take place at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas for this. And also, let me just throw out this amazing potential opportunity. Let's say the Wolves are in Vegas for these semifinals and championship games. Well, you know what's on Sunday? Vikings in Vegas.
Dude, are you serious?
It could be a Minnesota sports epic weekend in Las Vegas. And maybe,
Great call.
maybe.
I'll see you guys later. I'm heading out right now.
Maybe Score North makes a Vegas trip to watch the Wolves and Vikings and has an absolute blast.
Wow.
Just throwing it out there now.
That would be
planting
so
that
dangerous.
seed right
That would
now.
be so dangerous.
I'd have to be
what's
reeled in.
what day of the week is that? Is the 9th? Is that a Saturday?
So the semifinals is a Thursday. The championship game, I believe, is Saturday. Yep.
Saturday.
So it'd be
and then the Vikings would be on Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. I'd have to be reeled in. I would need a babysitter.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not.
goodness.
Yeah.
Thanks, Judd.
Coming up next, Vent Line with Ross
Hey.
Brendel, AJ Fredrickson,
Hey.
and another Slappy because the three hosts are passed out on the strip. That's a great find on the Dex.
Let's definitely circle that. I mean, they have to get out of group play, and it's kind of you got the upstart Squirrely Kings, the Warriors, the Warriors might not care about this. You might be catching the Warriors during a time where they're not going to be tricked into caring about November and December basketball. So we'll see. The Spurs are kind of a wild card too, because they could be. By the way, Greg Popovich just signed like a 5-year, $80 million
74?
contract extension.
I looked it up. He's 74 years old. I honestly thought that he might walk away at some point soon.
Dude, he's going to be signed until he's like 80.
I know.
It's incredible, man. That'll buy him some more red wine for that cellar he's got at home. But I love this too. I think it,
Why not?
Every time there's a major change in sports, I feel like everyone's like, oh, this is stupid. It's like the cool thing is to say how stupid it is.
Yes.
And for a team like the Timberwolves, when other teams like maybe Denver and the Warriors who've been to the mountaintop and back, maybe they're going to be kind of in, this is fine, but let's wait. A team like the Timberwolves should be looking to fire out of the gate and show everyone. And maybe at some point, I wonder if they could incentivize this to where, like, if you win the NBA Cup, do you get like an automatic, some sort of automatic seed or something? Like,
Ooh, I like that for the future.
But then what's the point of the rest of your season, I guess?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It needs to be workshopped, but is there some playoff incentive that you can?
Well, the whole thing does, but I mean, I love the fact that they're adding significance with not trying to add games or like shut down. My fear was originally when I read this that they were going to like take a 3-week break, right, from games and like have these games instead. I think this is the absolute sweet spot for how to do this.
Yeah, I think you're guaranteed a play-in spot. Maybe that's it. You're guaranteed at least, and if like you're better, then you're better. Like
I could
that's
see that.
fine.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just guaranteed at least a play-in spot.
I like where you guys
Look at
are.
that. Come on, Adam.
Head-wise.
Like, in theory,
I
like
where your
if you're
heads
good
are.
enough to win the NBA Cup in the first month and a half of the season, you shouldn't be like fighting for your life to make the play-in. But it is the Wolves though.
That-
So
That's the pups.
That thing will be, I guarantee, by this time next year, that thing is going to be sponsored by somebody. It ain't going to be the NBA Cup.
Oh, absolutely.
That thing's going to be a
No, it
very
might be,
rich.
No, it probably will be this year. I mean, they still have
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it could be.
5 months to figure that out.
Somebody's going to buy that cup, though. The
Yeah,
rights.
so it sounds like unanimously we're all pretty fired up about it. All right, thank you guys for hanging out with us here on Flagrant Howls. And again, everything that we do is going to be on the Mackey and Judd podcast feed, just like it's always been, just like our Timberwolves talk has always been. But we are expanding Flagrant Howls. We're expanding the Score North Twin Show, expanding Judd's Hockey Show. Look at Pat just walking in there.
I
Pat's
gave him the thumbs up. It was.
It's not Declan's fault. All right.
All right, we'll see you guys. Flagrant Howls, your favorite Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.